Hi, YouTube. Rebecca Roy here. So I've been thinking a lot about what I want to do, for the future and how I want to grow my channel. And I have been doing the pendulum now for a little bit, but I've been channeling for many, many years. And I've talked to angels and archangels pretty much my whole life. I started my gifts when I was a child, and I'm clairvoyant, I'm claircognizant, I'm clairsentient, and I'm clairaudient. So I hear, see, feel, and know things, and have since I was a kid. And my mom had some abilities, and my Nana had some abilities, but they really didn't understand them, and they didn't understand how they made them work. And so when I had visions or I had dreams that told me of future events, they didn't know what to do with them. And as they came true, they would know that I was connected and that what I was telling them was going to happen. And so, I went through the majority of my life not really knowing how to make these things happen. And in 2020, let me start. In 2011, I was diagnosed with emphysema, which completely destroyed my life. I was on a good trajectory at work. Just got married 2 years prior. I was very happy. It was weird. It was just really weird. I mean, I was running up and down the stairs. I worked in a building that was 3 stories high, and on break, me and my friends would run up 3 flights of stairs, gingerly walk across the departments, and run down the stairs, and then gingerly walk across the departments and run back up the stairs. So it didn't make any sense at all that all of a sudden I was turning gray and my lips were blue, and people were like, "Becky, you're gray." And I was like, "What? Gray? What are you talking about, gray?" And I was breathing really heavy, and just a lot of, and you probably noticed on here that sometimes I'm breathing heavy. And that's why I have emphysema. Well, in 2013, my emphysema got so bad that I couldn't work anymore, and I got diagnosed disabled, and I became disabled. And I just, I got really depressed. Come 2020, I was suicidally depressed. And I used to, just go in this pit. I was in this pit. And I was warm and comfy there because it was safe there. And I didn't have to do anything. And I didn't have to feel anything. And I didn't have to recognize anything that was happening to me. And I got to the point where I didn't want to live anymore. I just didn't. I did not want to live anymore. And I hadn't tapped into my gifts in a very long time. And I'd pretty much just forgotten about them, honestly. Life just took me to a point where I had forgotten about them. And Jesus came to me, and he helped me out of my pit and told me that God had a plan for me, which I knew God had a plan for me because God told me he had a plan for me when I was a kid. And then when I went through my divorce, God told me again, I have a plan for you, and helped me through my divorce, which was not pretty. And I had been married for 19 years, and it wasn't a pretty divorce. And, we were together for 19 years. Yeah, I think we were married 17 years and lived together 2 years, so it was 19 years. Anyways, so it was a really hard time. It was a really, really hard time. And I started to reconnect into my gifts during that time. I'd always been a writer. I'd always been a writer. And that was actually my dream, was to write a book. And I started writing a book in my late 20s, early 30s. And I never finished it. And then I started getting this book back again. I don't know, it was 2017, 2018. But like I said, I was so sick. I mean, I was connected to the oxygen 24/7. And I couldn't stand it. I just hated it. I was so controlled. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't experience anything because I was so controlled at this point. And when Jesus pulled me out of the pit, and he gave me a little bit of a healing, enough of a healing that I could start to regain my gifts, and I didn't have to have my oxygen on all the time. And I actually kept checking my oximeter to see if I needed it or not. And I didn't. You know, my oxygen was at 95, 96 instead of 70. And 70 in the 70s is organ failure. So you absolutely need to have the oxygen on. And I was still taking my oxygen tank with me and wearing it wherever I went. But in the house, I was letting myself not use it. And I stopped bringing I have this huge tank, this machine, and I would bring it to the top of the stairs in the morning so that I could walk around my downstairs, which isn't very big, with the oxygen tubing. So I had like 150 feet of oxygen tubing, and I could walk primarily from the stairs connecting to the kitchen. I could primarily walk from, the kitchen to the living room and back and forth. And our dining room is actually an office / bedroom, so I didn't really go in there anyways. And that was my world, from the kitchen to the living room. And I was out of breath. And then Jesus pulled me out of my pit, and I wasn't out of breath. And then one day I actually started a YouTube channel, and I put that on there. It was snowing. I think it was like January or February. And I went outside, and I just made a little path with the shovel around my car. And I wasn't out of breath. I didn't feel like I was going to pass out. I didn't feel like I was going to die. It was amazing. And I put a YouTube channel up, and then I put a couple more up, but I took them down because I was too afraid. I was too afraid for people to see this. And when I was a kid, I used to be able to lay my hands on people and heal them with my hands. My hands would heat up, and I would heal them. And and I need people to understand this. When you're healing, when you're a healer, you're not healing anyone. You're allowing the energy to come through you from God and heal. That's all you're doing. You're just a conduit. That's it. You're not healing anyone. And I want people to understand that. So I started doing some healings again, like I did when I was a kid. I could heal your headache or whatever. And then when I was in my 30s, I healed my clavicle bone. I had an accident where I fell off. I ran over my dog because he was chasing the crows and ran across my bike. And I flipped onto a concrete sidewalk, and my clavicle bone broke and was poking through my skin. And I had 3 young boys at the time, a 5, 6, and an 8-year-old, maybe 9. There's 3 years between Marty and Andy. I always get that confused. Anyways, 7. Yeah, 3 years. So there's 3 years between my oldest and my second son. Anyways, that sounds ridiculous. You don't know how old your kids are. Well, yeah, I'm 60, so, back then. I'm going backwards many years. So they were little, and they were rambunctious, and they were silly, and they were just having a good time. And I'm laying there going, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because you couldn't even smile without it hurting. And I had read this book by Thich Nhat Hanh, and he talked about how you connect into the flame and become the flame, and then you can heal. And I remembered the headaches and all that. And I thought, well, you know what? Everyone's always said I had healing hands. Let's see if I can heal this. And so I became the flame, and I put my hands on my clavicle and I healed it. And it wasn't a problem anymore, which was amazing because, a week before that, I was in the hospital with the, broken. So now skip ahead all these years. And so now it's 2020, and I start to realize, you know what, I need to get back into my gifts. And I shut off my vision. I shut off my clairvoyant when my brother committed suicide, and I saw it. And I called my mom and I told her about it, and she told me that there was no bullets, so he couldn't do anything, but he got bullets, and he did. So it destroyed me. It absolutely destroyed me. And I had seen many other things. I'd seen earthquakes and fires and, stuff that you just can't do anything about. And so I told, the powers that be that I didn't want that anymore. So I shut that off in 1983. Well, in 2020, I was like, you know what? I would love to be able to talk to Kenneth. I would love to be able to talk to my mother, my father, my Nana, my grandpa, my Aunt Ann, my Uncle Kelly. There's people I miss that are past, and I would love to be able to talk to them. And whenever I was automatic writing, I was talking to angels and my guardian angels and archangels and just, regular angels, just angels. But I never connected with, relatives. So then in 2020, I started just devouring every book that I could devour, learning everything I could possibly learn from YouTube. And there's just so much on YouTube that you can learn. It's just amazing. And then last January, I joined Lady of the Forest. She's on YouTube. She's amazing. Her name's Cindy. I joined her Patreon group. And from that point on, all of my clairs came back. And it seemed like time sped up because so many things were happening. Well, before I joined Cindy, I gotta add this. Before I joined Cindy, I had healed some bones. I had healed some bones for people. And in November, my son had a terrible accident, and he ended up having to have his leg amputated. And my sister's also psychic, and she also has healing abilities. She's a Reiki master. And we sent so much healing energy to my son, but we couldn't heal him. We couldn't. And his accident just was too much for me. So my healing has been on the fritz since then, and I'm not offering that. But what I will offer is the pendulum, because I've been having relatives come through. I had my nephew come in for my sister. We were just talking to the angels about her gifts and stuff and things that she may not know that she has, and past lives that she's remembered and stuff like that. And her son came through. And that was really amazing. And then I was talking to my husband, and his parents came through. And so then we set up an official talk to the parents thing. Because I was talking to him on the phone and he was at work when it first happened. So I couldn't give the message that his parents had to him at the time. And then his dad's name's Regis. And then Regis kept bugging me. Are you going to... I have a message for Michael. I have a message for Michael. We have a message for Michael. You need to pick up the pendulum and have Michael there, and on and on. So, yeah. So then I have friends that I've been getting messages from that are on Patreon, that are part of the group, and I've told them their messages. And lately I've been getting personal messages, people I don't know. And I mean, they're coming from angels and they're coming from Yeshua, because Jesus prefers to be called Yeshua. They're coming from him. So it just got me thinking, you know what? I need to offer to the YouTube channel pendulum readings. And I can't guarantee what will come through. A lot of times when I'm doing the pendulum readings, I have visions. So I can also give you the visions that I'm going to have. And I can post it as a private link on YouTube, and then you can collect it on YouTube. So I'm going to offer that, and I'll put the details in the description. If anyone is interested in having a pendulum reading, and this is for entertainment purposes only, because I don't want to be sued by anybody. So this is entertainment purposes only, and I can't guarantee what will come through. I don't know, because it's not coming from me. It's coming through me. So you need to understand that it's not my words. It's, whoever I'm channeling, it's coming from them. So, what I thought I would offer is some pendulum readings, because those I can guarantee that I can do. And if nothing comes through, then, I wouldn't charge you. But I think that this is a good time to do that, because I'm very confident in this kind of channeling. I've been doing it for so long now that that I feel confident in doing that. And so I just wanted to give you my history a little bit, so that you know how I get these messages. So I get them by knowing, I get them by seeing, I get them by hearing, I get them, I'm empathic. So like if I walk in a room, I pretty much can go into the energy and know what's going on in the room before anybody tells me what's going on in the room. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to do this channel, was I wanted to teach people how to tune into their different clairs, because I have all the clairs except for scent. Well, I sometimes I smell cinnamon, which I know that my grandfather's around, but I don't get a lot of smells or tastes or anything like that. I don't get those. But Cindy has told me of some different things that I'm going to be able to do. And lately I've been able to do some weird stuff that I'm not going to put on here just yet, because I'm just now figuring out how I'm doing it. But once I do figure out how I'm doing it, I will definitely tell you guys about it. And maybe you can do it too, because it's pretty cool. But anyways, now I'm starting to ramble because I'm running out of things. I don't stop. Okay, so I'm going to send you a big love wave. And if you're interested at all in getting a pendulum reading, please go to the description and click on the link. I'm going to give you my email to the Gmail. And let me know what you think, and we'll hook you up. All right. Sending you a big love wave. Love to all. Bye-bye.